Hello there gang, Devere here with another Past Blast, in which we should be playing a little bit of Titanic, Adventure Out of Time. A first-person point-and-click, not surprisingly, set on the steamship Titanic, the one that sunk, that is, released back in 1996 by Cyberflix Software. So when you first start, you get a choice of the game itself, or a tour, which is a free roam mode with some information about the ship. We shall dive in with the game, and I shall use the power of video editing to skip this somewhat lengthy introduction. So I shall see you guys and gals in game.
The past, forever locked in regret. But what if the past could be changed? "30 years have come and gone since the night that saw the end of the world, my world. The service needed someone on the Titanic. They chose me. I was to wait for a signal from my contact, so I remained in my cabin. I left only once Georgia was on board, and that's when it came. There'd be no second chance. It was Sunday, April 14th, too late, you see, for the Titanic, for me. What if I'd met with my contact, prevented disaster? What if the past could be changed? What then?
So the game proper can now begin. So it's old school enough. WASD, your arrow keys to move around, and then your mouse to interact with things. Yes, wait for it. So we play the part of a time-travelling spy, because of course you do. What else would you be? Yes, I know. Meet me tonight on deck. Tell no one. Georgia. Well, we should go marching through there then. Let's get all our items before we get started. Let's get this chappie out of the way.
Good evening. I am Smethles, your steward, and if I may say so, it is good to see you up and about. You've been in your cabin the whole voyage. A touch of the mal de mer, was it? Seasickness can be quite unpleasant, especially if it's one's first crossing. Since you haven't been out of your cabin, may I instruct you on how to get assistance while on board the Titanic? Very well. Your correspondence. 2,200 on board, and they all want messages delivered promptly. Even if it is 1912, and the Titanic, the most advanced means of sea conveyance ever devised, I still have only two hands. Here, a map of the ship for you. Compliments of the White Star Line. I have taken the liberty of indicating your cabin, C-73. Of course, on a Sunday evening at this hour, there won't be many people out. Will there be anything else? Have you unpacked? You'll find your trunk key in your bag on the bed. If you require additional assistance, please ring the bell by the door. Good night.
First things first, the life ring here is where you can set your options. And the first thing I'm definitely going to do is turn that volume down. A lot of the music in this, especially this particular track, incredibly dull. Not quite sure if that's supposed to be some sort of remapper or not. I've never quite figured that one out. So I won't worry about that right now. Then your save and quit etc. is here. No graphical options, unfortunately. And graphically it's definitely kind of showing its age now, the old static backgrounds. So we have our map. And then we have our inventory. So let's activate that, and it's all kind of old school drag and drop to what you want to interact with. Come on, onto there. That's better. Our decoding machine. We don't have anything quite yet to decode. That's not the one I'm looking for. Worry about all that later. That's just some bump about what's going down. Yes, because you're a secret agent, a 007 style spy, and we're here to do things in point and click adventure style. I think it's the other way I want to go. No, it is that way. That's right. So these ones in black or brown sort of thing, they're just randos. You'll be able to tell the ones you can interact with. Things like that.
Evening, I'm the lift attendant, and you'll not find one better at taking you where you want to go. Where to? Suit yourself. Good night.
So definitely the voice acting that's a bit OTT. It has a sort of sense of fun to the proceedings. I think this is the way out here, isn't it? Oh, no, that way. Should be able to get round this way. Can be a bit of a bind to navigate your way around, in all honesty, at times. Certain areas are obviously locked off to guide the game through, and there are a few little physical games within this. Punching aside, there's a fencing one. You can sort of go around looking at various things. This is who we need to contact. Penny Pringle. Hardly miss Moneypenny, but there we go.
Glory be. It's about time. You're late. Another 5 minutes and I'd have cancelled your mission. Look at this. A German colonel named Zeitel. He's inspecting their embassies in Havana, Washington and Mexico City. We know better. 10 days ago, the Bureau got word that Zeitel has in his possession a priceless copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, stolen 2 months ago in Paris after its purchase by a very highly placed member of His Majesty's government. Of course. Didn't they tell you anything? His Lordship's watching this very closely. Very closely indeed. I wouldn't fumble this chance either, unless you fancy spending the rest of your career in some grotty Midlands back office shuffling paper about. No. He's with a protégé. Name of Heidelitz, I believe. The two spend a great deal of time in the Café Parisien. Nibbling pastries. Get into the wireless room. I don't know or care how. Officer Morrow wouldn't let me in. See if Zeitel's received or sent any telegrams about the Rubai. You've got a cryptograph in your trunk. It'll unscramble the German codes. You use the brains God gave you. Watch people. Listen. When you find the Rubaiyat, knock on my door. Cabin F, 34. Use the second-class stairs. You should be set. Remember, this is your big chance. Don't fail.
So, we now have a mission. That's to do everything, whatever she just said about there. So yeah, sometimes navigating can be a little bit of a problem. You also might notice some of the dialogue started skipping. That seems to be a problem that's only on this digital new released version, as well as there's also a few bugs which
Come here.
oh no, I don't want to talk to him later. Yeah, sometimes there's a couple of places where if you enter an area from the wrong side, it can crash the game. It is possible to not crash it and sort of back out. It's a bit awkward, and that doesn't happen on the disc version, just these digital copies from Steam and apparently GOG as well. This is a Steam version I'm playing here, but I do have the discs and none of these issues exist there, so I recommend you save fairly often. There's a bit of a poor show. They haven't put a bit more effort into fixing that.
Good evening. Third Officer Morrow here. Sorry, the wireless room's off limits to passengers. No passengers allowed. Good night.
So the game, of course, does take a few liberties with history, of course. There was no Third Officer Morrow. It was indeed Third Officer Herbert Pittman. And of course there's also the whole British spy thing, as I don't think we really had a spying department at that point in time. Certainly not in the sort of James Bond style this game seems to infer. Certainly not one headed up by a lady. Although I suppose this is close to 1914 to 1918, World War One. Of course there was Mata Hari. Opinions divided. Was she a spy? Was she not? Some people say she was. Others say she was just an old slapper who couldn't keep her legs or her mouth shut. Who knows? That's a history lesson for a different day. As you can see, you can kind of go around quite a lot of the ship. It's quite open. Oh, right, so there's going to be something to do. So some of it's dialogue driven, such as make friends and get allowed into the wireless room, etc. Some of it you have to find items. Some of it's a bit more physical, as I mentioned, the fencing and such like. Which way do I want to go now? That's the only problem with this kind of old school navigation. You move from sort of hotspot to hotspot. Oops, I didn't want to go that way. And in fact, because the game does have multiple endings, depending on how much of the things you get achieved, because you see your watch here as anytime anything important happens, time moves forward. For obvious reasons, a bit of a spoiler, but the boat sinks at the end of it all. And obviously you can't change that bit, so you're just trying to change all the things that happened. I don't know, they're nobodies. Talk to him. So all in all, yeah, it's pretty decent, apart from those few little bug issues from this particular digital release version. So a chimo with Georgia.
You came after all this time. It's Georgia. I'd heard you on board. Where have you been? But it's Georgia. The one person you could tell anything to. You're just like the rest, aren't you? Like Charles, like Sasha. No emotion touches you, does it? It never did. You'd never let it. You're in on it too, aren't you? Bastard.
So there's also a sense of fun with the over the top characters. And the OTT voice acting. So all in all, apart from those couple of little bugs, you get quite a challenging point and click. With some good characters, pretty decent story. Some good, decentish graphics. I mean, comparing the age, 96. There's a fair bit of area you can explore around, especially in the free mode. So other than that, it's just a pity they didn't take a little bit more time and fix a few of those little glitches, like the audio skipping, or a couple of areas where the game will bug out if you enter from the wrong area. So you certainly get plenty of replayability if you're going for the different endings as well. So I think we'll conclude our dealings here, gang. This was Titanic, Adventure Out of Time. Certainly if you're a dedicated point and clicker, this is certainly a lot here for your money. And that's fair to say. It's just a pity they can't get someone to do a proper full reboot of it in a proper free roam 3D. Although I'm not quite sure how the sprite and the 2D picture characters would work in that sort of environment. Although I don't think it would be terrible. So there's lots of little Titanic trivia and things to look around and investigate. But yes, we'll conclude here. So again, thanks for taking the time to watch the video. I hope you found it useful and entertaining in some way. And as ever, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to let me know you're alive. And I shall see you all next time. Bye for now.